Team synergy now.
What do spiritual principles mean to you?
To me, spirituality is finding that within you which is beyond the mind.
I like that.
Now I see it as a blessing because my direction has taken me through A Course in Miracles. Yeah. It's taken me through a variety of different spiritual paths, including Christianity, so that I feel like I'm getting a real understanding of what God is, and I'm able to look inward and find real answers that matter. And that is what is spiritual. Spiritual principles are understanding how to get beyond the mind so you can get a real understanding of what the right next move is.
I like that definition. So how do you think you apply spiritual principles to your finances and your wealth today?
You know, that's really interesting because life is always in flux, you know, and in a lot of ways I'm starting over, you know, recently divorced. That's always financial hardship.
Challenge, yeah.
And it always comes down to responsibility. And to me, it's about praying, it's about writing. I think journaling and inquiry is extremely important.
Yeah.
And
especially
really,
when you need to forgive.
Absolutely, and really slowing down. I think that's the biggest thing to me as a spiritual practice, is slowing down and realizing that in a single statement that you make about yourself, you know, I'm concerned about paying the rent this month. Okay, you write that on a piece of paper. There is volumes with just that sentence.
Oh, yeah.
And giving yourself time to allow something real to come up, allowing the energy, the tears, the worry, the stress, whatever is coming up, to move through you. But what we have a tendency to do when we're in our mind is chatter through it.
Yes.
Chatter through it, so we don't really feel anything.
And you know, that is the key to all of our healing on this planet, and everybody, you know, and I think, you know, now that we're talking about this, that's most people don't want to feel the pain.
That's right.
So they run from it.
Absolutely.
And you can't do that because things are going to keep happening to get you to that
exactly
point.
Right.
So you know what? Once you deal with that, then you're free. When
well,
you allow yourself.
That's right. Until there's something else you have to be responsible for.
That's that's life.
That's
you know,
right.
It's the roller coaster
It really is.
effect, or whatever you want to call it.
But I do think there comes a point in time in your spiritual development to where you no longer are really truly tied to the circumstance, where you're able to recognize that this too shall pass, whether it's beautiful ecstasy or some real serious stress and overwhelm.
Yeah.
You're able to be in a space of witness that is very powerful, and you're just able to kind of, wow, isn't that interesting that just happened? As opposed to, oh my God, this is happening to me.
Yeah, no,
you're
exactly.
able to really be in a space.
In that spiritual space.
And that only comes from that consistently slowing down and going beyond the mind.
And it's trusting.
It is.
It's truly trusting beyond yourself, or that connection with your higher self.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's, to me, is what that's about.
And I think, Cheryl, as we say that, you know, the word surrender comes to my mind, and trust.
Oh, totally.
And there's a lot of buzzwords that come up, and I think it's important for all of us to understand that we can talk intellectually about it, but the actual work itself it's
an individual thing.
It really is.
You know, the way I deal with something, because I usually, when I have something like I've had extreme challenges in the last month or so, I deal with it head on.
Nice.
Because I don't want to get stuck. I don't want, you know,
You're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, and I don't, you know, so if you deal with it now, you know, and sometimes it isn't always convenient to do it now.
That's right.
But it's making that focus, because once you know that you can get through it, and when you take the time to get through it, then you're going through to the other side.
Right.
And then you'll be prepared for the next thing
exactly
that comes up,
exactly
because there's always going to be a next thing. So
Gary Zukav has some wonderful things.
Wonderful.
Yeah, he mentions.
Soul.
Yeah, he mentions something in his Authentic Power, where he talks about when you start to walk this path where you're making the more difficult decision, you're realizing that it's not more difficult. You've been conditioned to think that it's more difficult, and then what happens is that you slip into this space to where you're willing to take the action, you're willing to do what's difficult, because you are so attached to the results of freeing yourself and opening and growing.
That's a key thing.
You know, so when you tap into that level, now you're able to
being conscious of getting through it, so you aren't attached, though.